Welcome to J is for Justice podcast. If live breaking news and following true crime is your thing, then please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you like what you see in my videos, please consider giving them a thumbs up. Hello. Hello, my lovelies. Happy Monday. Welcome to J is for Justice. If you are new here, please consider subscribing. And if you like what you see, consider giving that thumbs up. Say hello to your moderators, guys. Shell, Angie B. Who else we got? Mike Stana. Mike Stana, I've had a new soundbite for you for a while, and I haven't been able to play it yet, but I'm going to play it right now.
Get the fuck off my stage. I'm the Sandman.
The Sandman. Welcome, Mike. Hope everything is well with you. Audra D and Wait What? You'll see them. Ave, they're in green. They are members. They are AKA Roberters. If you'd like to become a Roberter, the moderators can tell you how. Hello, Sinead. Sinead, I saw you got showcased in someone's community post. I was like, that's my girl. I can't remember what it was about. Something about Idaho 4, but they were like, they screenshotted your comment and put it in their community post. And I was like, that's my girl, Sinead. Ray Kelly, if you guys have any cases or anything like that that you'd like us to take a look at, you can email the team. Shell, if you could put the team email in chat, we'd be willing to look at any case that you'd like us to cover for sure. Hey, Shelby and Brianna. Welcome, Roberters. Judy, good afternoon. It's been a while, Judy. Hello, Drunk Turkey. Drunk Turkey's in the house, the Drunk Turkey Show. Carrie, CR. So, Drunk Turkey, are you still going strong on this case or what? So, let's just get the cat out of the bag because I'm sure everybody by now has seen the latest in the Idaho 4 news, right? And then the news that has come out. There is someone who came out. His name is Justin. And I'm sure that you guys have seen it. If you haven't, we can definitely link you there. We're squirters. We can definitely link you to that. But this man named Justin put out a video claiming that Dylan Mortensen is a trans and that he is friends with her and that he is going to tell her story, or hopefully he says Wednesday. He keeps talking about Wednesday, that he's going to be able to possibly talk to her. And he says that he hopes that all the perpetrators are brought to justice in this case. And he says that he is covertly working with the feds. So I just want to acknowledge this information, but then I also want to say that whether or not someone is trans or not is a pretty sensitive topic, at least to me. I don't know enough about it to comment one way or the other. However, I think that everything that's been leaked, I look at it all the same. I look at every leak the same. I don't take it, with all seriousness. I take it all in. Yeah, he did make a video. So I don't know about the whole working with the feds thing because that's a pretty serious thing. And he put his face out there. So I know a lot of you don't believe it. And whether you believe it or not, I just think it's too sensitive of a topic for me to talk about publicly. Would I be surprised? No, nothing surprises me either way. But does it really matter in the grand scheme of things? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, based on people's tolerance. But do I think that even if someone is trans or not, has anything to do with the murders? Probably not. Because, no, who is he on Twitter, Cammie? Well, he said that she was attacked a few days ago. So that was his whole reason for coming out, was he said that Dylan was attacked and because she had her surgery and that she's, you know, she was found and all this stuff. So I don't know. I mean, there was things that came out last week about Dylan. Who knows at this point? Who knows at this point? But I just think that as far as a tolerance aspect, like hate crime, she's not dead. So the canna knitter, what does that mean? Canna knitter. Like weed? Canna knitter? What's that mean? What do you mean you knew it was the canna knitter? What's the canna knitter? I haven't seen that. What platform is that? Mary Rose, do you know her? Drunk Turkey, we're still on Idaho. Talking Idaho tonight. Justin's story isn't believable. I will be tuning in to see what you guys think about Justin's story, Drunk Turkey. The guy made accusations that this was a hate crime. Well, I don't remember the last part. I watched it really quick before I came live, but like a smoke shop. Does he own a smoke shop? You're kidding, Mally, on Fox News? Let me see if we can find that. Mally says, I heard on Fox News this morning that the attorneys are discussing moving his trial. Or were they just saying, like, you know, what if they moved his trial? We got DeSantis in the news. Dude, we got so much going on. My mind has been mush. And that's why today I wanted to, talk about that new news. But then I also want to update on other things. Because there's other things going on in the world. Like Alec Baldwin, no longer facing years upon years behind bars. That's something different. There's a lot I'm seeing in the news about sextortion and things like that. Oh my God. Viral Taylor Swift lookalike. I can't. You scroll through the headlines right now and you're like, what? Yeah, I don't see anything. I did hear there's another balloon off of Hawaii, though. And I looked on the flight radar. That's why I was late. I was seeing if I could see the damn thing. Mally, let me do a quick search and see. Brian Koberger trial. Let's see if anything comes up. Ooh, look at that. Daily Mail. Mally for the win. All right, let's take a look at this. This is new news. I'm getting this from the Daily Mail, but I think it's out there somewhere else too. All right, so the trial of Idaho murder suspect Brian Koberger could be moved hundreds of miles over fears local jurors would be too appalled by the massacre to try him fairly. Would they be too appalled by the massacre, or is there too many dynamics? As we know, Koberger is expected to appear at Latah County Courthouse in Moscow on June 26th. If he pleads not guilty, a trial date will be set, but many questions remain. Where will the trial be held? Options. So they're just talking options. They're not even saying, like, there's nothing been filed or anything like that. Yeah, it's nothing etched in stone. It's just, I think, them speculating where it could be moved to. Because there's nothing definitive in here. Oh, I've never seen this picture. Have you guys? Dude, the Daily Mail gets the best pictures. Leslie Watkins. J-Girl, I would love to talk to you about Summer Wells. I believe that the dead guy's not dead. Please, between you and TNT, you guys are awesome. The dead guy is not dead. What dead guy? Bones! It's my girl Bones! What's up, Bones? I've missed you. What have you been doing?
Fucking fuzzy slippers and lip gloss.
Oh, really, Mary Rose? So you guys have had like dealings with this Justin prior to this video being released? See, I've never seen that Canna whatever, so that's new to me. But look at Murphy. Oh, Leslie. Okay, got you. Jose. I never thought Jose was dead.
Yikes.
Good to have you, Drunk Turkey. Good to have you. It's nice to have some. I don't know how new you are to YouTube, but you're new to me, and it's nice to see some new creators in the community. Because like it feels like sometimes you get stuck in that little bubble. You know what I mean? And it's hard to break through sometimes that bubble of YouTube world. Well, it says here that the options could be, and this is all I can find, 300 miles is Boise. So that's what they were speculating. Former Idaho Attorney General and Lieutenant Governor Dave Leroy told the Statesman there are other areas of Idaho where the trial could be moved to include Lewiston, 30 miles south, probably not a good idea, Coeur Lane in Kootenai County, about 85 miles north, or Boise, about 300 miles south. 3 of the victims were from Kootenai County. I think they should put it in Kootenai County. He cusses you out and then blocks you and then comes back. The boy in the bubble. So yeah, we'll see what happens. There's nothing official. This is just them talking to Bill Thompson. He told the Statesman in Idaho, the paper there, that he believed an unbiased jury could be found in Moscow. What do you think of that? Put a 1 if you think. Okay, Leslie, I will. Can you email it to me? Can you email it to me? Because I'll forget. He said, I don't see why we wouldn't, as long as there's not irresponsible dissemination of information. Okay, let's read this part. This is interesting. The main argument for a change of venue is the effect of pretrial publicity on potential jurors. Each case is decided on an individual basis, but a lot of the time they're looking at pretrial publicity. They feel he could get a more impartial jury. Lenexa County prosecuting attorney Bill Thompson told the Statesman he believed they could get an unbiased jury in Moscow. One is you do and 2 you don't, right? Jurors would, as always, be urged to try Koberger solely on the evidence presented to them in court, with the case hinging on DNA and cell phone data. DNA and cell phone data. I don't see why we wouldn't, as long as there's not irresponsible dissemination of information, Thomas said back in December. At the time of his interview, few details about the investigation had been released to the public. If a trial date is set and a motion for change of venue is granted, then comes the question of where the trial would be held. So they are speculating with some prior prosecutors in the Lenexa County. Hey, Jessica. Welcome to chat. June seems like a gazillion days. Hey, Leo. Thanks for coming in. So that would be what they're talking about today. And then obviously, right. I mean, Mike Sanner, OJ got a fair jury. OJ got a fair trial. All these high profile cases, this is not the most high profile case that there's ever been. So it's like, it makes you wonder why everything is so locked up tight. Why is everything so secretive? Why is everything so hush hush? Can't tell the public anything. I don't get it. Feminem, welcome to the fam. Thank you, Shelby, my dear, for gifting a membership.
If it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
It is a MF and duck. Welcome to the fam. So that's the latest on that. But the Justin thing, I just think that it could matter. Like, if that was true, it could matter. Then this is where I'm just going to leave it. Until I have more information, I can't say whether this dude's lying or not. I don't have enough information to do that. And I think that I think it'd be irresponsible of me to take such a sensitive topic and speculate to hell on it. So I think I'm just going to wait until more information comes out about that before I form an opinion. Thank you, Shelby. Who got that one? Steph in Wonderland. Welcome, Steph. Jackie, he is abusive to you, Nightbot is. We need to take care of Nightbot. Okay, so we're gonna start our first story out. Let's switch gears. Let's meditate the Idaho 4 out of us for about an hour. Can we do that? Can you give me an hour of non-Idaho 4? Let's do it, okay? It'll be good for your psyche, I promise. All right, so we're still in Spokane, so you're not too far. Hey, Megs. We're not too far away, so you guys won't get like homesick or anything from this case. We're not too far away. But this is in Spokane. This is chilling story here. I'm just going to play it.
Information on a disturbing case out of Spokane where a woman admitted to murdering her son before cutting up and disposing of his body. Last month, 58-year-old Christine Catelli turned herself in, telling her brother she killed her son in Spangle back in June, then dumped his body near Rock Lake after sawing his head off.
What?
The motive and what led up to the killing is still unknown. Tonight, Catelli faced a judge in Spokane.
Let's pause it.
Set at $500,000.
This is my first look. Here's your first look at the lady from Spokane. You know how they're saying like people are going to turn into like zombies because of drugs and shit? I think this is what they're talking about. She killed her kid and sawed his head off. This is psychotic behavior. This is not even, people want to talk about satanistic shit. I want to talk about drugs. Yeah, you move exactly, Leo. I don't mess around, Leo. Like, I wasn't going from this to fucking the parade at Disney World, okay? The Sun, Leslie, you can email it. Always email. Email is the best way to go. Okay, so let's continue. Then we'll discuss.
She will be arraigned.
Let's watch this again, okay? From halfway point.
Herself in, telling her brother she killed her son in Spangle back in June, then dumped his body near Rock Lake after sawing his head off. The motive and what led up to the killing is still unknown. Tonight, Catelli faced a judge in Spokane. Her bond set at $500,000. She will be arraigned on February.
That's what kind of drugs does that shit, is meth. Meth. Heroin that has God knows what chemical in it, right? It's bad. It's bad. Our people here in America are dropping like flies. They're dropping like flies. This is chemicals that people are doing. And I can tell you, there's probably everyone here has been touched by someone who's addicted to drugs at one point in time. So, court documents state 58-year-old Christine Catelli confessed to the murder of her 35-year-old son, Chase Catelli. She told detectives with the Spokane County Sheriff's Office that she had shot him 5 or 6 times in the head because she didn't want him to suffer. She went on to tell deputies she sawed off Chase's head and wrapped both his head and body in plastic before discarding his remains near Rock Lake in Whitman County. After confessing to the murder to detectives, Catelli helped them find the remains. At her first appearance in Spokane County Superior Court, her bond was set at $500,000, and her arraignment is scheduled for February 28th. And this guy's face says it all to me. Look. That says it all. He's like, what the fuck is this?
Like, what the fuck is this? And everybody's like, what the fuck is this?
What do you think it is, Scott Watts? Drugs are bad out there. Really bad. There's like this pipeline of drugs, from what I hear. But get this. She shot him in June of 2022. And it wasn't until February that they found him. Kootenai County. Okay, Kootenai County. Thanks.
Cooperate. But
Coeur d'Alene. Hooked on Phonics worked for me. Okay, so she is set. Oh, here's a little more details. Look at this. William and Christine. Who's William? Christine's brother, William, told detectives Christine was staying with him in Sequim, Washington, when she confessed. So he drove her across the state to Spokane County. Hey, Lizzie. Thank you for being a Roberta for 13 months, girl. William and Christine met with deputies from Spokane County at the parking lot of the Veterans Affairs Hospital at 10 p.m. on January 14th. They then led deputies to a small concrete bridge near Gene Webb Road that spanned, and I'm going to hack this, so pronunciation in the chat. Comanche Creek, where Christine said she dumped his body. She told deputies she threw his plastic-wrapped head into the trees along the south bank of the creek.
Murder.
One deputy found a large plastic bag lying in a nearly vertical slope in the area Christine indicated. He found human remains inside, including a badly decomposed leg and foot. The scene was secured overnight until Whitman County Sheriff's Office could investigate in the daylight. It's unclear if the head was recovered. The affidavit does not state whether she gave a motive for the murder, nor does it describe events leading up to the shooting. She was taken to Spokane County Jail and booked for second-degree murder. Why second degree? Why on earth would she get second degree? I don't know about all that. That's kind of scary. I mean, she's... Why wouldn't that fit first degree? Like, what?
Why is it an issue?
Ashley, nobody said yikes, he hasn't come home, Ashley.
Hey, Lala.
La 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 la
Okay.
la la
La, 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 la. Oh, I'm sure she was on drugs, EW. I'm sure of it. I'm going to follow this, though. I'm making a mental note. And I want to see what happens when she goes to court. Because this is very, very troubling. I know his face is priceless. Like, this dude gets, like, facial expression of the year.
Let's get right to Nonstop Locals Guy Tannenbaum, who has some new information emerging on this story a short time ago.
Who has new information?
Has some new information.
Confessed to killing her adult son last summer.
Let's get right to Nonstop Locals Guy Tannenbaum, who has
Guy
some new
Tannenbaum.
information emerging on this story a short time ago.
la la la.
Sean, Steph, this all coming together around Saturday night when a man called in saying his sister confessed to shooting her son last June. According to Spokane County Sheriff's deputies, when confronted, 58-year-old Christine Catelli confessed to shooting and killing her son in a home in the 1400 block of West Jennings. That's in South Spokane County near Spangle. She says she wrapped him in black plastic and dumped his body near Rock Lake in Whitman County. Using directions that she gave them, detectives found human remains in a black bag exactly where she said it would be. Catelli was arrested on Sunday morning on charges of second-degree murder. She's booked in the Spokane County Jail right now and is being held on a $1.5 million bond.
Whoa.
Her first appearance in front of a judge in...
It was $500. Now it's $1.5 million, but why only second degree? Oh, Tannenbaum. Oh, my gosh.
District Court was today. In downtown Spokane tonight, Guy Tannenbaum, Nonstop Local.
Tannenbaum. Thank you, Guy Tannenbaum. Yeah, crazy shiz, right? So we'll see what happens with that. She did this last summer. He was 32, 35. So she's 58, and she confessed to her brother that she shot and killed her 35-year-old adult son, Chase. We had a similar case in Michigan where the lady actually killed her adult son. Oh, it gives me chills. She went to Home Depot, and they had her on like surveillance camera in the Home Depot. She's walking around asking about saw blades. She bought saw blades, and she went home and she put her son in this tub. She was a home care nurse too. And she put him in the tub and she dismembered him. And then she put him in numerous garbage bags, and she drove around by where I lived in the sticks, like in the country, and she's chucking them out her freaking car. Well, these people see her chucking these bags, and they're like, what the hell's in these bags? So they stop, and they look, and they like move one of the bags, and there's like a foot or some shit in there. So, yeah, I've seen this, and this was years ago. So she said she didn't want him to suffer. So it could be Mary. I'm excited for her prelim. I think it's in 8 days. So we'll see what happens with that. Crazy story. Probably, yeah, like someone said, the craziest story I've heard in quite some time. The Idaho 4, brutal, this, crazy. Yes, Judy, wasn't that a crazy case? She was caught on... Yeah, she was caught on surveillance too, like driving around in her, like she had a Blazer or something, and her poor son, yeah, it was like she had like a psychotic episode, I think. Her husband had died and she was grieving, and it was just really a weird thing, but she's in jail for life. We're right here, Sinead. I'm right here, baby. We got lovely people right here. We got 300, hopefully 349 beautiful people. And you know what? When I go down to the beach, I see a beautiful earth. I think we need to step out of that bubble and recognize what's around us still, because it's easy to get wrapped up in all of this shit, all of this. You guys, don't get wrapped up so much in this that you stop living. Because I feel like I've done that sometimes, and that's when I take a break. Lala, we just covered it. So, all right, our next story. And it's pretty bad that we have to take a break from a case and watch more cases, but it's true, you know, it's true. Take a breather. So this one here is, I made a short on this. I'm going to play my short, and then we're going to see what the cops are saying about this, because the sheriff's office didn't weigh in yet. Now this is this is Georgia. This man that you see was walking to work. It was 6 o'clock, I think, in the morning. And Doug Heffernan decided that he looked like a suspect of a vehicle prowl. I just love you, Mary P. He looked like the subject of, I'll check it after the live, thank you, Leslie, a vehicle prowler. Lolo, thank you for joining, Roberta. Oh, Brooke. Okay, yes. It is very concerning to hear. Yes. Okay, so Doug Heffernan decides, hey, this dude kind of looks like a suspect. So God forbid any of us look like a fucking suspect to this officer here. Now, I don't know why these stories are coming out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I support our police. I support our FBI. I support all law enforcement, but I don't support the bad ones because I don't want to look like a suspect and have this happen to me. So let's watch.
What I did wrong.
I was trying to explain to you, but you wanted to keep pulling away. So now you're under arrest for obstruction. Take your backpack off. Take your backpack off.
Excuse me, what am I doing?
Take your backpack off.
Can you explain what this is?
Before you go on the ground, take your backpack off.
Paulding County Sheriff's officials confirmed this is dash camera video from Deputy Michael McMaster's car. It was March of 2022 at 6 in the morning. The deputy was responding to a call of a suspicious person breaking into cars in the Evans Mills subdivision.
When deputies responded to that area, they made contact with a male matching that description.
This video shows Deputy McMaster approaching the man, identified as 30-year-old Tyler Canaris, and telling him to take his backpack off and put his hands behind his back. Sheriff's officials say Canaris did not comply. Watch what happens next.
You're matching the description of someone trying to break into people's cars.
I'm not breaking anyone's car.
I mean, what the? Terrible.
Once the video came out, we made the decision to get the GBI involved, to let them look at it.
We asked sheriff's officials if deputies are trained to use that technique to subdue someone.
We're aware that of the optics of this incident.
At this point, because we have turned the case over to GBI and there is pending potential litigation in the case, civil litigation, we're going to opt not to elaborate on that particular portion of the case.
In the video, Canaris can be heard repeatedly saying he was just trying to go to work as the deputy goes through his backpack.
Are you on camera breaking in the car? No, I just came right down. No, I bet you are.
Canaris was rushed to the hospital to be treated for his injuries. Sheriff's officials say it was later determined he was not breaking into cars, but he was charged with obstruction of justice and is still facing those charges.
I don't know what I did wrong.
I was trying to explain to you, but you wanted to keep pulling away. So now you're under arrest for obstruction.
McMaster has been with the Paulding County Sheriff's Office for 9 years. He has been put on desk duty while the GBI investigation is underway.
Okay, so that's what I think is a huge problem. I'm just going to say it. So he broke this guy's collarbone. And he's been on desk duty. So you can rage out. It's acceptable. This is why people, oh my God. I am not like that. Like, I don't put all cops in one basket, but a lot of people do. There's a lot of people that don't live the same life that I do, and they have to come into contact with the cops a lot. And I see why they feel the way they do sometimes. Desk duty. I mean, what the fuck? This guy still is facing a charge of obstruction. He's still facing a charge of, I'm sure it'll be dropped. But, and this guy knows that there's a dash cam. And he still did it. Didn't even think. Like, this guy wasn't even, like, he's in autopilot mode. He didn't even think. It's crazy. Broken bones. Had to miss work. I mean, yeah, he's got a great lawsuit, but shit, this should never happen. And this is why people lose faith. They lose faith because of bad apples like this.
I'm not breaking anyone's car. No.
And that guy wasn't expecting that at all. But yeah, desk duty. So at my old job, if I did something that went against our policies at work, I would probably be like suspended, until they investigated. But he's sitting in the damn cop shop doing desk duty, still getting paid. While this guy's laid up in the hospital, nursing a broken collarbone. Horrible. Okay, so the sheriff has now weighed in. I don't know if that was the only thing we saw where it was he couldn't say anything.
They made contact with a male matching that description.
This video.
Yeah, it's the same bullshit. And this dude's just minding his biz. Look, he takes out his earbuds. He's like, what's up? Like, it's 6 a.m. I'm on my way to work. And why is he so pumped up at 6 a.m? I think they should have immediately sent him for a drug test as well, that cop. See, that's where they need to have more accountability. The Tyree Nichols is absolutely the most horrific thing I've watched. I would have to say him and Rodney King right there, neck and neck. Some of you youngsters might not know who Rodney King is. My husband and I did kind of a test. We asked our daughters, do you know who Rodney King is? They didn't know, but I schooled them on who he is. Okay, so our next news, God, there's a lot of guns, a lot of gun stories right now. We have a bishop who was murdered. And they now have arrested someone. So I wasn't even going to talk about it, but they've arrested someone in the murder of Bishop David O'Connell. And it says a man was taken into custody in connection with the shooting death of a Catholic bishop renowned for his work as a community peacemaker. The LA County Sheriff's Department announced Monday. Auxiliary Bishop David O'Connell was found dead in his home in the Hacienda Heights neighborhood Saturday in what is being investigated as a homicide. Deputies found O'Connell after responding to an emergency call shortly before 1 p.m. Deputy Lizette Falcon told CNN. There was a news conference today. We'll have to see if that took place. Let's see. Who did they arrest? O'Connell was a native of County Cork, Ireland, and ordained to serve in the LA Archdiocese in 1979. While working as an associate pastor, O'Connell ministered to communities dealing with gang violence and poverty in southern Los Angeles. He worked to restore trust between residents and law enforcement in the wake of the 92 riots. I feel like I'm going to pass out. I hadn't read this. I just mentioned Rodney King. Wow. So this man worked to restore trust between residents and law enforcement back in 92. When the Los Angeles riots took place, and now he was murdered in his home. Working with immigrants was also a top priority for O'Connell, and he served as chairman of the Interdiocesan Southern California Immigration Task Force, which helped coordinate the local church's response to the recent influx of migrants from Central America. As police investigate the deadly shooting, the Los Angeles Catholic community reflected on his impact. They say he was a guiding light for so many. The sheriff's department said, "We are working diligently to seek those responsible for his death." We had some another, like a cartel shooting out in California too. There's just a lot of bad things going on right now. So we'll get through it though. We get through it together, right? We're all better together. We are all better together.
Wake up.
So yeah, like I said in the beginning, this is just something that new that came out. The DA dropped the gun enhancement charge against Alec Baldwin. So that means that he still faces a charge of involuntary manslaughter. However, that would carry a lesser sentence of 18 months if convicted. The amended complaint was filed on late Friday, so right before the weekend. And the charge was also dropped against Hannah Gutierrez Reed, who faces the same involuntary manslaughter charge as Baldwin. In order to avoid further litigious
God almighty.
Anyways. So they dropped those charges, so they're only going to do probably not very much time, if at all. I don't know. The dude looks like he's on the verge of death anyways. Like, I didn't understand why he was charged. Like, why did it all fall on him? But I didn't think that he was going to be able to pay his way out. I didn't think that that was going to work for him. But yeah, we're going to
Welcome to Who's Talking.
Who's Talking? I will keep my eye on this this Bishop thing. That's really sad. Officials, argument over offer to buy a woman drink may have led to deadly shooting at Florida hotel. They're not saying, Mary. I don't know. Who knows?
Give your car a tune-up to keep it running the way
Let's ask Joe Rogan.
Conditioner needs a tune-up too.
Joe, why did they do that?
Stronger and longer with a Cool Today tune-up today.
Joe, why did they do that?
Who knows?
Just arrested in a deadly shooting 3 nights ago at a hotel on Singer Island. We first showed you live pictures of that scene Tuesday night, minutes after the fatal shots were fired. Let's go right to Ari Height now from the Riviera Beach Police Headquarters with the latest details on this investigation and that arrest. Ari?
Todd, it was about this time on Tuesday night, 3 days ago, when police here in Riviera Beach got the phone call about this shooting on Singer Island. Now, here we are about 72 hours later, and they believe they have caught their killer. So let me go ahead right now and show you who it is that we're talking about. His name is Lawrence Mitchell. He was arrested around noon today. He is charged with second-degree murder. Police say just before 11 p.m. Tuesday, Mitchell shot and killed a man at the Sands Hotel on Beach Court. Police have not released the name of the victim in the shooting. They have not said if the two men knew each other, have not provided a motive for the shooting. Mitchell is scheduled to make his first appearance before a judge tomorrow morning, and we hope to learn more information about this shooting and about this arrest when that happens in front of the judge.
I feel like this is drugs. People are snapping. So just a really quick only in Florida segment for you. And funny you should ask, V-Slims, because look what is going on today. Starting today, Florida lawmakers are beginning a discussion today that allows permitless carry. I don't know how I feel about this. I want to know what you guys think of this. The exceptions would be schools and athletic events. Let's watch this video and learn more about what the state of Florida wants to do, because I'm not against being able to protect yourself and not have to go through all the red tape. But then I also, on the other hand, think, okay, criminals don't usually buy their guns legally, usually. I mean, we've seen more and more of that, I think, where they have acquired it legally. But, let's watch this.
Happening today, the Florida Senate Judiciary Committee will consider a plan that would allow people to carry concealed firearms without a permit.
District Tax reporter Joe McLean joins us live. And Joe, right now there is a permit requirement here in Florida.
Right, and that permit requirement comes with a criminal background check. There's also a training element that's required to be able to carry a concealed weapon in Florida. Now, according to the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, that's the agency that oversees these permits, more than 2.5 million people had concealed weapon permits as of the end of last year in Florida. Now, this measure would eliminate that requirement to get a permit, but it will also, though, require that concealed carriers also carry valid identification right along with that weapon and present that ID to law enforcement upon demand. Now, the proposed law also carves out exceptions to so that the prohibitions on carrying guns in schools and athletic events, for instance, would still apply.
And that's where we have our biggest problem. I was surprised to see, though, that this is not that odd, okay? Florida would join 25 other states which do not require a permit to carry a concealed firearm in public. "25 other states." Are you guys shocked to hear that? Right. I agree with you, Mike Sanner. I know, V Slims, it was like you read my mind. Girl, you knew what the next thing was coming up. That's funny. I just feel like, I don't know, like it's almost like the state of Florida is thinking like, all right, we need to, because it, cut that red tape, cut that time frame, let people get armed up, man. I don't know. But I didn't know that 25 other states already were operating that way. So I don't really see the big deal in it. It's been going on for 25 years. I don't know. I don't think it makes a damn bit of difference. That's what I'm saying, Kim O. Like, is this kind of a, because Florida don't F around. Like when something's going to happen, like one way or another, Floridians get the memo, right? Oh, part of this path is because Florida permits are only for Florida, so you can't travel out of state with a gun. Daily, I know it's expensive. It's expensive. I haven't watched what's going on with DeSantis, Lala. I don't know. Okay. We're gonna do one more Florida, and then we're gonna move on. But I wanted to shed some light on this case. This is a cold case out of Tampa. Jennifer Odom. And this was actually posted 4 hours ago. It says the family of Jennifer Odom pleads for answers. 30 years. 30 years after the 12-year-old girl was kidnapped while walking home from the school bus stop and killed. So let's see the story on this. So again, this is out of Tampa, and this is Jennifer Odom. It's a long time to wait for answers, huh? All right, so we're going to go out of the state of Florida. We're getting out of here because you guys are like all scared by our gun laws. So we're going to go to this SWAT standoff. No more craziness out of Texas.
Ooh, that will scare somebody.
And the standoff began early this morning. I did not, Mike Sanner. I did not. Can you resend it? The standoff was this morning after a woman was found in distress and claimed she was kidnapped and assaulted. This is in, I think, Houston.
4:50 a.m. the sheriff. This morning about 4:50 a.m. the sheriff's office began to receive calls regarding a suspicious person here in Thorn Cypress 16,700 block. When deputies responded, they located a female who was in distress and indicated that she had been kidnapped and made an allegation of sexual assault. The deputies made sure she got medical attention. They then made contact with the suspect who lived in the 16,700 block of Thorn Cypress. He refused to come out and talk with investigators. A warrant for aggravated kidnapping was obtained based on the information that we had. Due to the fact that the suspect refused to come out, SWAT was activated. However, he eventually, upon arrival of most of the SWAT units, surrendered.
Did he say why he surrendered?
No.
One-way ticket to hell.
Was he being told to come out?
He says, he's like, did he say why he surrendered? He's like, no, I didn't ask him.
Surrendered.
Did he say why he surrendered?
No, I didn't ask him.
Was he being told to come out at the time, or we just kind of like waiting?
There was communication between the sheriff's office and the suspect by the responding officers. He also called our watch command. There was communication between our watch command and the suspect. Eventually, the suspect was put in touch with a negotiator, at which time he went ahead, came out, and it came to a peaceful ending.
That's what negotiators do, obviously. That's what they're supposed to do.
Right.
Talk about the process. What happens now? What happens? What's next?
What will happen next is he will be booked into jail on the aggravated kidnapping charge. The investigation into the sexual assault, that will be ongoing, and when it's completed, a determination on charges for that will be made when that investigation is complete.
How's the woman doing?
I don't have an update on the victim at this time.
Any ID? You really see any ID on the guy yet, or anything?
No.
Did he have any prior convictions, or?
There's some previous criminal history, and the investigators are looking into that.
Tom Anderson from MySpace says that looks like Brian's dad. You're so funny, Tom Anderson. Not Brian's dad, but
this morning about 4:50 a.m.
Crazy. Here's some of the comments. Thank you to the sheriffs and LEOs. Houston area has sure gone to hell. There's a lot of bad things that happen in Houston. Hey, Trix. All right, let's move on to our next story. You want to talk about Crazy Town? Let's talk about crazy stories. Alaska teen, now wait for this, allegedly solicited by man to kill her friend and sent him videos of it for $9 million. Cynthia Hoffman, 19, was found dead along a riverbank near Thunderbird Falls in Alaska on June 4th. An Alaskan teenager carried out a plot to kill her best friend after a man she met online offered her $9 million for pictures and photos of her committing the murder. Cynthia Hoffman, 19, was killed by gunshot wound to the back of the head in Thunderbird Falls near the Eklutna River, about 27 miles northeast of Anchorage. Denali Bremer, 18, was arrested and charged in the murder. The two teens considered themselves best friends, according to court documents. 4 other teens and the man who solicited the murder were also arrested. According to the district attorney's office, Bremer allegedly planned the murder after a man she met online told her she would be paid millions for evidence of her murdering someone. Authorities say Darren Schillmiller. Ew, and look at this ear. Like, what? That is nasty. Blit.
God almighty.
Darren Schillmiller, 21, of Indiana. Created a fake online persona as a millionaire from Kansas named Tyler and began a relationship with Bremer. The two began planning several crimes in exchange for money, including the, quote, rape and murder of someone in Alaska. After being catfished by Schillmiller, Bremer chose Hoffman as her victim and recruited 4 friends, Caden McIntosh, 16, Caleb Leyland, 19, and 2 other unnamed juveniles to help carry out the murder. Bremer and 2 of the teens hatched a plan to take Hoffman to Thunderbird Falls under the guise of a hiking trip. That's where they bound her hands, feet, and mouth with duct tape and shot her in the back of the head. They dumped her body in the Eklunta River, according to court documents. Bremer kept her end of the bargain by sending videos and photos to Schillmiller via Snapchat during the crime. After the murder, the teens destroyed some of Hoffman's personal belongings and texted her family, saying that they dropped her off at a nearby park. Police said there is no evidence Hoffman was sexually assaulted. Now, fast forward. This happened in 2019, but fast forward to February 18th, 2 days ago. 2 days ago, we have an update. So this happened in 2019. Here's the latest. She pleads guilty. Check it out.
One of the indictment, murder in the first degree pursuant to 1141-100A1A. What plea did you want to enter?
A change of plea for Denali Bremer.
Guilty. All right, I'm going to accept your guilty plea.
Bremer, along with Caden McIntosh and Caleb Leyland, all teenagers at the time, were charged with the murder of 19-year-old Cynthia Hoffman. According to court documents, a then 21-year-old Darren Schillmiller of Indiana posed as a millionaire online, allegedly offering Bremer roughly $9 million to, quote, rape and murder someone in Alaska. Bremer and McIntosh carried out the killing at Thunderbird Falls, borrowing Leyland's vehicle, where they bound Hoffman with duct tape before McIntosh shot her once in the head and pushed her into a river. Her body was found a few days later. In an Anchorage courtroom Wednesday, Bremer accepted a deal from the state in exchange for charges dropped.
She was charged with conspiracy to commit murder in the first degree, solicitation to commit murder in the first degree, 2 different theories of murder in the second degree, and a tampering with physical evidence.
And while Cynthia's father, Timothy, was unable to attend in person, by phone he maintained his commitment to see the case through. To listen to the admission of guilt he's been waiting 3 years to hear.
It gave me a step in the direction where it was a sign of relief and that this is almost over. All I want is me and my daughter to have peace. And to have peace, this has to be done.
Bremer, now convicted with a guilty plea for first-degree murder, will go before a judge in late August.
So the Department of Corrections will go and do a lot of background investigation on Miss Bremer, looking through her life, and provide recommended sentences, recommended probation conditions to the court to assist them with fashioning an appropriate sentence.
Facing 30 to 99 years behind bars in a sentencing hearing expected to last 3 days. Carly Schreck, Alaska's news source.
I mean,
America's 39th president, Ed.
You can have no words for this, right? Crazy town. Crazy town. When I say this shiz is crazy, it's crazy. Hey, hot pink jalapenos. I want to welcome everybody who is here today. Thanks for joining. I feel like, we're seeing a lot of cases too, probably because everything was put off for so long because of COVID, right? We had Megan Faramuska. We've got, I wanted to update you guys too on the Dane Kalungi case. That trial is going on right now. Dane is accused of killing his wife, Gypsy, and strangling her and burying her body, but they never found her. So he's on trial right now. It's pretty juicy. His ex-wife recorded him for the investigators, and they're playing the recordings and things like that. It's not being streamed, but it's on WebEx, so it picks up again tomorrow. So I'll be watching and listening to that again tomorrow. Also, Nicola Bulley was found, and I want to talk about that. I saw Lizzie, you said you were in a rabbit hole. She was found. I haven't gotten in a rabbit hole with it, but I think there's definitely something up. I don't know why. But she was found a mile from where she went missing. Let's watch this video. Here we go. So that's where she was found by a person walking their dog. But why wasn't she found before? Why wasn't she found before? So what is the news? Luke Morgan Tyler, is that who you're talking about? I don't see anything where it says it was well, I mean, they've been saying it was what? Where do you see that reported? I don't see it anywhere. He was found dead on January 22nd. Police, it says here on the 30th, Daily Mail reported that police don't suspect foul play. He was a member of Theta Chi fraternity. There's a petition seeking an investigation into the frat house. I'm not seeing any updates though, yo. So, the bishop, the man that was arrested, the suspect's wife worked in the bishop's home. I just came across that. Ugh, God, I hate pulling up the Moscow paper. Where I don't see the shoes anywhere. Oh, check my text. Dirt. Oh, wow. All right, let me share this. Thanks, Lena. What the hell is going on in Pullman? We might just have to get into one more story since this just came out. What a bunch of crap. Hang on, guys. I'm getting it. Okay. This is from the Whitman County Office of the Coroner, Annie Pillars, Colfax, Washington. Media release, February 20th, 2023. The Whitman County Coroner's Office has confirmed the cause and manner of death for Luke Morgan Tyler, the 19-year-old male, in the incident at Purnham Hall, Pullman, Washington, on January 22nd, 2023. The cause of death is acute intoxication due to the combined effects of alcohol and bupropion. The manner of death is suicide. There are no additional media releases planned. Annie Pillars, coroner. What? Alcohol? An antidepressant? That's Wellbutrin. The cause of death is acute intoxication due to the combined effects of alcohol and bupropion. It's literally Wellbutrin. People take this to quit smoking and stuff. I would have to say that there's more to this. Yeah, it's Wellbutrin. That's what bupropion, bupropion, whatever the fuck they call it. It's sold under the brand names Wellbutrin and Zyban. It is used primarily to treat major depressive disorder and to support smoking cessation. So they're saying he committed suicide by taking his antidepressant and drinking alcohol. That's how he killed himself? Is this a joke?
Who knows?
Wake up.
Weird. Funny how it's not in the news either. 19, I think. Luke Morgan Tyler. Let's take a look. Let's see if there's any videos. Luke Morgan Tyler, Washington State. I don't know. Right, accidental, if anything. A toxicology. Let's see what the combining forces are of alcohol versus his antidepressant. Was he just taking his antidepressant daily? Or, you know, what the heck?
Where that 19-year-old student was found dead in his dorm room over the weekend. WSU police are still investigating, and while they do not suspect foul play, they're still waiting on official results from the medical examiner. It was 1:34 in the afternoon Sunday when Pullman paramedics received this call.
Paging Pullman ambulance for an unattended death, 624 Northeast Cougar Way, Parham Hall 613.
They found 19-year-old Luke Tyler unresponsive in a dorm room. Paramedics unable to revive him.
Pullman fire units, we are attempting CPR at this time.
Tributes are pouring out for the WSU student, friends describing him as kind and sincere, the life of the group. WSU police are investigating the death, and Chief Gary Jenkins tells KREM 2 at this point they do not suspect foul play and have not applied for a search warrant for the 19-year-old's dorm room and personal belongings. We don't know who discovered the body or called 911. While there's been speculation online about what led up to Tyler's death, WSU spokesperson Phil Weiler said, quote, "I would caution the public against speculation at this point in the investigation. The facts in this case are still being gathered. It could be several weeks before the coroner's office determines the cause and manner of death." WSU Pullman Chancellor Elizabeth Chilton sent a message to students saying she understands that during trying times a lack of information often leads to confusion and questions, but she also urged people to avoid speculation and said the loss of a member of our Cougar family creates a tremendous loss for all of us. A GoFundMe set up to help with funeral expenses has already raised several $1,000s in Pullman.
Kidding me? That is insanity.
This afternoon, as kids get ready to head back to school, the King 5 investigators bring us a warning about the secret and harmful practices of hazing.
As Susanna Frame reports, experts and those affected by hazing say despite increased awareness, dangerous hazing rituals persist, not just at the college level, but in high schools as well.
It's really hard to talk about what happened to Sam, but I couldn't forgive myself if we didn't try to share our story in a way that could reach somebody.
Jolene Houts and Hector Martinez of Bellevue want their story of loss and pain, the death of their only son, Sam, to be a wake-up call.
I really want to offer up our experience, our story, as a caution for parents.
November 2019, Pullman police responded to a 911 call at the WSU Alpha Tau Omega fraternity, ATO. After an annual brotherhood party, fellow freshmen found 19-year-old Sam dead on the floor of the fraternity from acute alcohol poisoning.
I saw him last night when I walked in here, and he was just on his side. He was fine, and then I woke up this morning and he was just face down, and we turned him over.
Police found upperclassmen illegally hazed Sam by encouraging him to drink to excess as part of becoming a member of the frat.
It's just a lot.
Yeah. It is a lot.
I didn't think this would ever happen.
He's the first thing we think about and the last thing we think about before going to sleep. And I mean, the hole in our lives is ever present, and it hurts.
The title of the bill, Sam's Law, will be the title of the act.
In March, with Jolene and Hector in the gallery, the legislature passed Sam's Law. It went into effect just last month. It requires all colleges in the state to provide mandatory hazing training and to document and publicize it when it happens.
And there's a pattern there that I think parents should be aware of.
Now families can find out if clubs like frats have histories of hazing. Here's Wazoo's current website. It spells out what happened to Sam and the violations such as hazing, abuse, and reckless endangerment. Before Sam's Law, hazing was cloaked in secrecy. There was no public information about any fraternity's troubled past.
But nothing negative. I mean, everything was bright and solid. So it was totally covered up.
Research shows hazing isn't confined to college. Many high schools have secret hazing cultures. A study by the University of Maine found 47%, nearly half of students report being hazed in high school before they ever hit a college campus.
No one should have to witness that, experience it.
19-year-old Alex of Seattle, who doesn't want to use his last name, was a victim of high school hazing. In 9th grade on the Garfield High School swim team, he says he witnessed sexual hazing in the locker room. Freshmen made to do sit-ups into the bare private parts of a team captain. Afterward, Alex says the captains told him to keep quiet about what he saw.
There was a code silent with
I cannot.
They said at that day, anything that happens in the locker room stays in the locker room. I took that literally and took that to heart.
Last month, Alex, who has autism, filed a lawsuit against Seattle Public Schools saying the hazing event and culture of intimidation traumatized him and that Garfield administrators exacerbated the trauma by pressuring him to keep his mouth shut and not speak to the school newspaper working on a story about it.
You don't want me talking about anything like this. It's like... yeah.
Once a straight-A student, Alex says his grades, self-worth, and mental health fell apart. He says he even considered taking his own life.
They pushed me to the edge of suicide back in after grade 10, summer after grade 10.
Really, you wanted to end your life?
Yes.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Dr. Elizabeth Allen from the University of Maine is one of the country's top hazing authorities. She says hazing that might seem innocent to some can scar others, even witnesses.
Oftentimes that emotional harm or sort of the hidden harm of hazing, that kind of trauma can stay with individuals for many years.
I dread the day that I hear the news and hear that a student has died of hazing.
Sam's parents hope awareness and the knowledge that all hazing is dangerous will prevent another death like the one that shattered their lives.
I feel like I'm still picking shards of glass out of the life that I thought we were going to have together, all of us as a family. And I feel like there's so much more work to do.
Isn't that sad? It's so stupid. And now they're saying this Tyler was a suicide. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. All right. So, do you guys want one more story? We've only gone, well, it's been an hour, a little over an hour. Let me see if I can find this document. I need to be able to have this document for you guys. Oh, and I have it. Oh, God. Okay. Let's do it. Let's do it to it. I've been wanting to talk about this, and now seems like as good a time as any with the cover-ups and such, or whatever you want to call this. Dang it. Okay. So what you're looking at is an official court document from the state of Washington. And this is a probable cause affidavit for, let me click off my camera for a second so I can get this up full screen. Okay. All right, now bear with me. We're going back in time in Pullman. Bye, TNT. Thanks for the news. So we're back in Pullman, Whitman County. And this is on one of their old police officers, Jerry Daniel Hargraves, date of birth 8/26/1969. So this happened on October 29th of 2018. Signed by Dennis Tracy, the prosecuting attorney for Whitman County. And this is the state of Washington versus Jerry Daniel Hargraves, aka Dan Hargraves. Now we're gonna read through what Mr. Jerry Daniel Hargraves did. This is from the Washington State Patrol Criminal Investigation Division. On March 31st, 2018, at approximately 12:53 a.m., a custodial sexual misconduct allegedly occurred involving Pullman Police Department Sergeant Dan Hargraves and LG in Whitman County, Washington. So the victim's name is whited out and it just has her initials, LG. On March 30th, 2018, LG, a freshman at Washington State University, was drinking at several different parties around the Greek Row area. At approximately 11:46 p.m., while LG was walking along Cougar Way en route to Scott Coman dorm, Hargraves observed her stumbling and obviously intoxicated. Without advising dispatch or recording the contact, Hargraves stopped and directed her to get in the back seat of his police vehicle. Hargraves provided her a transport to her dorm, the Duncan Dunn community, and gave her a warning for her intoxication. Hargraves instructed her to remain inside of her dorm the remainder of the night due to her intoxication as a minor. At 11:59 p.m., LG entered the east side of the building and went to her room. On March 31st, 2018, at 12:20 a.m., WSU Police Department Sergeant Matt Kurt was en route to back up another officer when he observed LG outside the south entrance of DDC. LG was staggering and appeared intoxicated to the point where Kurt felt it was necessary to make contact, at least to make a welfare check, if nothing else. Kurt advised dispatch and activated his body cam. Kurt determined she was underage and appeared heavily intoxicated. LG said she had been contacted by an officer earlier for the same reason. Kurt advised he would be filing charges for MIP, exhibiting, and directed her to go back to her dorm and remain inside the rest of the evening. During the contact, LG informed Kurt she was a type 1 diabetic, but knew how to be responsible. She also stated that she would, quote, do anything, and asked repeatedly if there was anything she could do to make it less severe. But Kurt advised her there was not. At 12:26 a.m., LG entered the DDC South exterior door. At 12:40 a.m., Hargraves heard Kurt run LG's name over the radio and then contacted Kurt in front of the Davis Hall on Linden Avenue. Hargraves advised Kurt he had a similar contact with LG not long ago, provided her a transport to DDC, and gave her a warning. Kurt documented this conversation in his report, which is Report WSU PD Case Number 18-W1480. At 12:45 a.m., Hargraves' vehicle was observed on a surveillance camera driving down Linden Avenue towards DDC. Despite being told twice by officers to remain inside her dorm, LG did not want to be alone in her room and exited her dorm again to meet up with friends. According to LG, as Hargraves passed by DDC, he observed LG outside. Hargraves stopped and stated, quote, "You disobeyed me. I told you not to leave your dorm before. Now I have to take you to the station because you didn't obey my orders." LG stated he did not put handcuffs on her, but thought she was being arrested by going to the station. At 12:47 a.m., LG's cell phone location indicated she left the area of DDC. LG was crying in the back seat of the police vehicle and pleading with Hargraves about letting her go back to her dorm. LG stated, quote, "I'll do anything to not get arrested." She explained she did not want to spend the night in a jail cell and that her dad was very strict about drinking. Hargraves then asked her, quote, "What are you willing to do?" LG said she was thinking she would have to pay him a good sum of money. LG replied, quote, like anything to not get arrested. LG stated it became very quiet in the police vehicle, and a few minutes later, Hargraves stopped the vehicle. At 12:53 a.m., LG's cell phone indicated she arrived at the Rainey Park area. He opened her door, instructed her to get out and get down on her knees. LG said she remembered hearing him undo his pants. LG has a vague recollection of performing oral sex on Hargraves. She does not remember him ejaculating, and she apparently used her sleeve to wipe her face when they were done. Is this real? Hargraves instructed her to get back in the police vehicle and then asked where he was to drop her off. She requested to be dropped off at Rogers Hall because her friends were expecting her. At 1:01 a.m., LG's cell phone indicated she left the Rainey Park area. LG stated it felt like they were driving around for a long time. She had no idea where they were. While she was driving, she was looking around for her cell phone in the back seat. Hargraves advised he had it and did not give it back until they arrived at Rogers Hall. Upon being dropped off at Rogers Hall, LG was given her cell phone back, and she immediately made a phone call to be let in the building. At 1:58 a.m., she made her first call to Nate Pickett. On April 5th, 2018, at 9:40 a.m., LG called the Office for Equal Opportunities to report the incident. During the initial report with OEO, LG indicated the incident occurred on the second contact. This started the investigation process, and since she was contacted by two separate agencies in the same evening, the Washington State Patrol was requested to investigate the sexual misconduct allegation. So it sounds to me that LG made these calls because she knew they weren't going to do anything about it. On April 9th, 2018, WSP Detective Larry McGill had Hargraves and Kurt's vehicles swabbed for DNA, specifically for semen. The results were negative. On April 18th, 2018, McGill was able to interview Kurt and LG. During the interview with LG, she provided details and a timeline, as well as identifying Hargraves from the PPD website as the officer that made her perform a sexual act. She admitted to having a lot to drink. LG also stated she's a type 1 diabetic and did not remember eating that day. She indicated that she wears an insulin monitor, but learned afterwards it was not functioning that day. Following the interview with LG, she provided McGill with her clothing that she wore the night of the incident. McGill submitted the clothing to the WSP Crime Laboratory for DNA analysis. Reviewing statements and records collecting during the investigation, McGill was able to exclude Kurt as a suspect in this incident due to his consistent activity documented throughout his shift, especially during the questionable time frame of 12:47 to 1:57 a.m. Hargraves had very little documented activity for the entire shift and no documented activity during the same questionable time frame. So I know we've talked about Moscow and some of the cops there. I think TNT talked about an officer over there not checking in on his stuff. Hot Pink, the address to send things to is in the description of every video. Thank you so much. On June 11th, 2018, WSP forensic scientist Ethan Smith advised he located a sperm on the sleeve of LG's clothing. On July 12th, 2018, McGill served a search warrant to obtain a DNA sample via buccal swabs of Hargraves for DNA comparison to the DNA in the sperm located on LG's clothing. On August 14th, 2018, Smith advised the DNA comparison was a match between Hargraves' DNA sample and the DNA sample in the sperm on LG's sleeve. The case was submitted to the Whitman County Prosecutor's Office for review of charges. And this was back in 2018. So now we're going to take a look here. Let's go to the lovely YouTubes. And we're going to go Dan Hargraves, WSU. So this went to trial and stuff. Let's watch this. This only has 50. Look at this, guys. Creme News.
Good evening and thank you for joining.
Look how many views this has. $53.
I'm Mark Hanrahan.
And I'm Jane McCarthy. The Washington State Patrol is investigating 2 law enforcement officers for possible sexual assault in Pullman.
A Washington State University student says she was sexually assaulted by an officer back in March. The student filed the complaint with the WSU on April 6th. The details of the alleged assault are unclear to us right now, but we do know the student was contacted twice the night of March 30th for underage drinking. Once by University Police, once by Pullman Police.
We can provide counseling. We can provide new living arrangements if we have a student who's the victim of a sexual assault. And
I heard this and I was like, what? What?
Counseling. We can provide new living arrangements if we have a student who's the victim of a sexual assault and they're not comfortable in their living situation. We can find them different places to stay on campus. Really, for us, the most important thing is to make sure we take care of the survivor so that he or she is in good shape and can recover.
In good shape? In good shape? Hold on, they're cutting my grass.
Contacted twice the night of March 30th for underage drinking. Once by University Police, once by Pullman Police.
We can provide counseling. We can provide new living arrangements if we have a student who's the victim of a sexual assault and they're not comfortable in their living situation. We can find them different places to stay on campus. Really, for us, the most important thing is to make sure we take care of the survivor so that he or she is in good shape and can recover.
Both officers involved are now on paid administrative leave while WSP investigates.
Former Pullman Police Sergeant Dan Hargraves took the stand today in his sexual misconduct trial, denying he forced himself on a WSU student last year when she thought she was under arrest.
How do you explain that your DNA is apparently on her?
You know, I don't know. I mean, I did contact her.
Hargraves denies putting that student in his patrol car, taking her to a secluded spot, then forcing himself on her when she said she would do anything to not get arrested. The jury will now decide who they think is telling the truth.
But before they begin deliberating, we heard Hargraves tell his story for the first time. 4 News Now reporter Taylor Graham was there for all of it today. She's live in Colfax with continuing coverage. Taylor.
Well, Hargraves says when he heard the accusation he forced himself on that student last year, he was shocked. But he also said he never took time to look back on that night and reflect on what happened until this week.
I call Daniel Hargraves to the stand here.
For the last year, we've viewed the night of March 30th through the eyes of Hargraves' accuser.
Take me through the beginning of that night.
Wednesday, we heard for the first time from the man arrested for the crime and charged with first-degree custodial sexual misconduct.
And I started walking, and she looked like she was pretty drunk, and I want to go check on her, make sure she's okay.
There's no video to back up Hargraves' side of the story. He never turned on his body camera, one of his self-proclaimed bad habits.
He intended not to turn it on. He made that decision.
And while his trial has been pending for months, Hargraves says he's never revisited that night until now.
Were you surprised when you were notified that these allegations had been made?
Of course I was shocked.
But it's not that he didn't know. He first learned of the student's accusations about a week after the alleged incident.
Did you try to reconstruct your activity for that whole shift?
I did not.
You didn't try that on April the 6th. How about April the 7th?
I don't know.
8th?
I don't know.
9th? April 10th?
Trying to.
Ever?
Hargraves says to this day he can't remember where he was after he met the student or where he was patrolling because he says it was just like any other
He's like,
night.
ever.
He says he didn't force himself on anyone.
Did you have her perform oral sex or any other sex act upon you?
Now, the jury went into deliberations this afternoon at about 2:30, and we will be back here tonight at 6 with a look at the state and the defense's last words to the men and women who will be delivering that verdict. In Colfax tonight, Taylor Graham.
All right, so that's not the end of this. That is not the end of this at all. You guys aren't going to be happy.
Almost 1 year ago, Jerry Dan Hargraves was arrested for first-degree sexual misconduct and resigned from the Pullman Police Department. A WSU student claimed he forced her to perform oral sex on him when she thought she was being arrested. Today marks the beginning of Hargraves' trial.
And jury selection is underway. Our Taylor Graham was in the courtroom. She's here to break down everything that led up to this point.
Hargraves saw his 19-year career with the Pullman Police Department come to an end in November. Today, he sat and watched as the jury selection for his sexual misconduct trial began here at the Whitman County Courthouse.
19 years. He threw away his job of 19 years because he couldn't control himself. You'll be happy to know that he will never be a police officer again. This was handled all through the state. He was stripped of his duties.
It all started with an allegation made at Washington State University. A student said she was walking back to her dorm after a night of drinking on Greek Row. That's when court documents say Hargraves saw her stumbling down the sidewalk. So he took her back to her dorm in his patrol car. He gave her a warning and told her to stay in her room. When police found her outside again, Hargraves heard her name over the radio. So he drove back to her dorm to tell her he had to take her to the station because she disobeyed him. Court documents say on their way there, the student was crying, saying she'd do anything not to get arrested, even offering to pay Hargraves. That's when she says Hargraves got quiet and stopped the car. Cell phone data showed they ended up at Rainey Park, where the student says Hargraves told her to get down on her knees. She vaguely remembers hearing him undo his pants, then performing oral sex on him. Once the student reported the incident, investigators found evidence that seemed to back up her claim when they found Hargraves' semen on her sleeve. 6 months after the alleged assault, Hargraves was arrested for first-degree custodial sexual misconduct. Since then, 4 News Now has obtained complaints filed against Hargraves, including a sexual harassment case filed internally by a coworker in 2016.
Yep, it gets worse. He was harassing his coworkers. All these women came out of the woodwork after LG did.
Hargraves has since resigned from the department as he's made his way in and out of the courtroom. Well, it was a long day in court today as the judge worked to whittle a pool of 100.
Okay, so check this out, guys. We're going to fast forward. There was a mistrial.
A Whitman County judge instructed 12 jurors to decide if former Pullman Police Sergeant Jerry Hargraves is guilty of either first or second-degree sexual misconduct. The result, a hung jury. During deliberations, the jury asked to review the DNA testing process and some of the testimonies, but the judge did not allow it. Whitman County Prosecutor Dennis Tracy says state law recommends judges should not allow jurors to review particular testimony. The fear in doing so is that might overemphasize some evidence over another. The jury only deliberated for about a day and a half before telling the judge they could not come to a consensus. Tracy says state law instructs judges to not require a jury to continue deliberations if they clearly say they cannot agree and won't be able to. That's what happened in this case. According to Spokane County Prosecutor Larry Haskell, mistrials are not uncommon. He says typically if a case is retried, the prosecutor's office will consider the nature of the charges and what could be done differently. But until a settlement is made or the prosecutor decides to go to trial again, Haskell says the defendant's charges are still in place. The Whitman County prosecutor plans to make a decision on how to move forward next.
Well, I'm going to show you how it went forward, and it's going to make you real sad. It's going to make you real sad. Hold on. So he was decertified, but he never faced trial. He was not retried, and they broke the victim down, guys. They broke her down. After this ad, we'll find out what happened, but she couldn't go on with the additional trauma. It's horrific. Oh, it says J is for justice, Jerry.
12 jurors to decide if former Pullman Police Sergeant Jerry Hargraves is guilty of either first or second degree sexual misconduct.
Oh, wait, that's the old video. Okay, we have to read this. So, this is dated October 10th, 2019. Whitman County Prosecutor Dennis Tracy announced on Thursday he will not retry a former Pullman police sergeant on charges of custodial sexual misconduct. What does custodial mean? Like he's in a position of authority? In early September, a judge ruled a mistrial in the case of Sergeant Jerry Daniel Hargraves. Jurors told Tracy that some of the testimonies did not match up and that there were discrepancies when the victim was in Hargraves' patrol car. They also had more questions about the DNA found on the victim's clothing and wanted more information on cell phone locations that were presented as evidence. Some of the jurors were convinced beyond a reasonable doubt, and some of them were not. Tracy added that he wanted to retry the case because he believed there were enough facts to support a conviction, but the victim was, quote, not willing to go through the additional trauma and indignity of another trial. Realistically, I cannot and will not force her to go through this again, and our system does not allow a criminal trial without her testimony. Therefore, the case is at an end. For any other witness in this matter, I would not hesitate to compel them to appear and testify at the retrial. But for me to do that, the victim here would truly re-victimize her. The victim in this case has gone through a lot, and I admire the courage that she showed to come forward in the first place. Now I have to respect her decision, he continued. Tracy said a judge will formally dismiss the charges against Hargraves at a later date. Hargraves resigned on November 29, 2018, amid the investigation into the misconduct. Police said he was arrested about a month before as a result of the investigation that began in April of 2018, when a female WSU student reported she was sexually assaulted. Pullman Police Chief Gary Jenkins said the internal investigation was completed without a statement from Hargraves. The investigation found that Hargraves violated a number of department policies, including involvement in criminal conduct, failure to activate his body camera as required, failure to make proper notifications when transporting a female, and improper treatment of a person in custody, Jenkins said. And then here's another one. Internal documents from the Pullman Police Department show the sergeant who was arrested for custodial sexual misconduct was given, quote, supervisory counseling in 2016 on a sexual harassment claim made by a coworker. Authorities said Sergeant Jerry Daniel Hargraves, 49, was arrested on October 30th, 2018. We know that. A separate incident prompted an investigation into Hargraves, according to internal police documents. In May of 2016, supervisors started investigating sexual harassment allegations made against Hargraves after another officer reported them to a sergeant. The sergeant then asked the woman involved to speak to him. The woman worked as a records employee at the department. According to a Pullman Police Department internal investigation, in the late summer or fall of 2015, a department employee said she received text messages from him while she was working in her records position. The woman summarized the text as Hargraves wanted to have sex with her, and when she refused, he asked her not to tell a PPD employee. She said she could not remember the exact dates, but she saved the text on her home computer. According to the internal investigation, the text in question said, "Okay, here is my little secret. Don't get offended, but for the longest time now, I have really wanted to get naked with you." The employee said Hargraves got her number from another employee whom he was having a relationship with because she wanted to go pick cherries at his property with a friend. What? Now we're talking about picking cherries?
God almighty.
The investigation states Dan texted her one night while she was at work and asked her for directions because he was going to the Tri-Cities for a training or a meeting, and he was spending the night there. Then Dan started chit-chatting back and forth with her, which he had never done before. So it's interesting to note that I looked up Dan, and he is still with this girl who worked in the records department that gave the number. Apparently, I guess it would be her. They own a business together, and they are both listed on the business together. So they are still together as of now. Yeah, go pick cherries. What the fuck? Dan texted her one night while she was at work and asked her for directions because he was going to the Tri-Cities for a training or a meeting and he was spending the night. Then Dan started chit-chatting, which he's never done before. The coworker told supervisors Hargraves started talking about his hotel room. She said she thought it was weird, and she felt like he was cheating on a girl she thought he was dating. Investigative documents said Hargraves propositioned her in the text in question. According to documents, the employee said, quote, "No, I'm not going to do that." She then asked Hargraves if he was asking for sex or a relationship. And according to documents, he said, quote, "I'm just asking for sex." Documents said he asked her not to tell the other employee because he was having a relationship with her. The coworker ended up telling the other woman and it ended their friendship. Wow. So she stayed with Dan and lost a friend. What an idiot.
Wake up.
The coworker ended up telling the other woman it ended their friendship. Documents said the employee told her supervisors that this upset her a lot and started calling in sick because she was not sleeping, not eating, and having heart problems. According to this internal investigation, supervisors interviewed Hargraves with the police guild representative present on June 17th, 2017. Hargraves admitted to his supervisors, quote, that he was the author of that text and he sent it. To the best of his recollection, there was no autocorrect errors in play here. During the interview, Hargraves described the conversation as starting out friendly and progressing in a flirting manner, and then increased to the text that has been saved. Hargraves thought the texting was mutual up to the saved text and beyond, documents said. According to the investigation, Hargraves said there has been no further flirting or non-professional communications with the employee following the text where he requested sex. The internal investigation states Hargraves' commander said, quote, "Since the alleged activity took place, one, with no prior history and no past performance issues, that Hargraves reasonably thought the text at the time was mutual, and they recommended supervisory counseling is sufficient to handle this situation." Are you kidding me?
What?
So let me read that again. The commander of Hargraves, which they don't mention, the internal investigation states Hargraves' commander said since the alleged activity took place, 1, with no prior history, and 2, no past performance issues, that Hargraves reasonably thought the text was mutual. So his commander recommended supervisory counseling. That is sufficient to handle this situation. Pullman Police Chief Gary Jenkins said supervisory counseling is when an employee receives verbal counseling by a supervisor. There also may be other components in addition to the verbal counseling. In the case involving texting and a violation of our sexual harassment policy, Sergeant Hargraves was also required to review the relevant policy. After the sexual harassment allegations, internal documents from the Pullman Police Department said Hargraves was asked to update / revise / rewrite a Halloween safety article to be published in the Community Update on August 23rd, 2016. Documents said he was supposed to send the updated document to the police chief by September 2nd, but failed to. Again, he was given supervisory counseling and was reminded to, quote, complete all assignments as assigned in a timely manner. Then, in July 2017, documents that Hargraves failed to provide a deposition in a civil case that he was subpoenaed for. Once again, he was given supervisory counseling. He was told by Gary Jenkins to, quote, increase attention to detail and scheduling of official duties. Hargraves never faced any other repercussions for the sexual harassment claims. Let that sink in.
John Wayne Bobbitt's penis.
On Tuesday, October 30th, Hargraves was released from jail on his own recognizance for the custodial sexual misconduct charge. He will be in court for his arraignment on November 9th. So yes, Dan Hargraves doesn't have a good track record, and he will never be a cop in Idaho. I mean, I guess he was decertified. So listen to this. What a dick this guy is. He's a dick. A timeline of the investigation shows Hargraves quickly invoked his right to remain silent while his attorney repeatedly delayed efforts to meet with investigators or provide evidence. State Patrol Detective Larry McGill interviewed the other 4 Pullman officers working the night of the incident. Officers Shane Emerson, Alex Gordon, Reuben Harris, and Wade Weingardner. None noted anything suspicious. In the report, McGill did note a strange exchange with the Pullman Police Guild president, Scott Patrick. Wait, what? Are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? Okay, this is crazy. McGill did note a strange exchange with Pullman Police Guild president Scott Patrick prior to the interviews, in which Patrick reportedly told him he was not going to get anything out of these guys. A separate investigation found no wrongdoing. On May 24th, Hargraves' lawyer provided investigators with a polygraph in which Hargraves denied sexual contact with the student or anyone else while on duty. And then he says here, did you receive oral sex? No. Did you ever offer to let someone go free if they did that? No. Did you have sexual contact with someone you detained while on duty? No. Hargraves also refused to provide through his attorney to provide voluntary DNA. It took another month to get a warrant to compel a sample. The attorney then pushed for a third-party lab to conduct the analysis, which the State Patrol and Whitman County prosecutor declined. The State Patrol Forensics Lab matched the semen on the student's shirt to Hargraves on August 14th. McGill sent his investigative report to the Whitman County Prosecutor's Office on September 28th. That office issued an arrest warrant a month later, October 29th. This happened in April, and this victim had to sit here until October. Hargraves remained on desk duty for about 4 months. Jenkins said Hargraves could not interact with the public, but he set patrol schedules and handled other administrative tasks. Records show he also oversaw one internal affairs case in which another officer missed a shift. He was handling internal affairs while he was on leave for this. Hello, Sylvia. Welcome to chat. If it was an investigation that involved the public, we likely would not have assigned that to him, Jenkins said. But it was an internal policy violation type of thing. What? What? He was oh my God, he was sexually harassing people internally, and this is what this Jenkins has the audacity to say. Regardless of the outcome at trial or any decertification by the state, Jenkins said Hargraves will likely receive his full pension for his 19 years with the department. The state retirement rate suggests Hargraves would receive a pension of $3,000 a month based on his final salary of $8,116 per month. Records also acknowledge technical difficulties between Pullman Police and their new dashboard and rear seat cameras in patrol cars. Those Axon cameras were first installed in 2017, but Jenkins said some problems have disrupted usage.
Okay!
Wow. The cameras would sometimes activate automatically without need, Jenkins explained. The department took the cameras offline during the time of the alleged Hargraves incident. He said the cameras are now back up in all patrol cars, but officers must activate them manually. What is this? Mayberry? Department policy requires officers to record transportations of any adversarial subjects, such as arrestees. Jenkins said the policy, Jenkins, didn't he? Said the policy may be expanded to include all transports, such as the reported courtesy transport Hargraves gave the WSU student. Built-in car cameras may not have made a difference in this case, considering Hargraves still violated the other existing policies for recording contacts via body camera. The bottom line is we have policies, and we had policies in place to address some of the action that occurred. Jenkins said he violated those policies. And then it gives a timeline of what happened. What do you guys think? It makes me sick. They need an overhaul at the very least in Moscow Pullman, in my opinion. This should never happen. No victim should ever be too worn out to get justice. Like, shame on that prosecutor for not talking her into it. This is what he looks like here. Look at, he looks a little different here. He's a little bit gray. Yeah, nasty. I mean, he straight up was texting. He was texting a coworker, just straight up asking for, you know what. But yeah, he runs some kind of business, and the girl that worked in the damn, the girl who worked in the, hold on, let's watch this. In the records department, he's like, she's on the business with him. So obviously they're still hot and heavy. I don't even know what the business is. I don't want to know. I can't remember the name of it now, honestly. It was something weird. But that Jenkins, like, Chief Jenkins, that's not like, they don't have like YouTube, the Jenkins, do they? What's very common, Jerry? That guys
Get on your
are like
knees,
that?
said Mr. Hargraves. She did. Silence. The silence was broken by Mr. Hargraves opening his pants.
An emotional opening statement brought by the defense in the sexual misconduct case against former Pullman Police Sergeant Dan Hargraves. The defense saying there's no proof that the accuser was ever inside the officer's car a third time. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Rashida Kaba.
Oh, I respect her choice too. But I think, you know, that a lot of resources are needed in cases like this, like a female, like a victim's advocate. Like, did they do any of that? I mean, we watch these human trafficking things busted down here, and they have all these advocates there for the girls. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. They should have been able to have a case without her testifying, don't you think? Why would she need to testify? DNA matched, right? Couldn't she just make a statement? I don't know. But mistrial, this is all just crooked shit to me. And I am so sorry for anybody in chat who has gone through something similar to this, anything like this. This is horrific, and my heart goes out to you. Because no one should ever be able to do something like this to another human being. No matter what. Everybody deserves the privacy of their privates, and their no one deserves to be killed, you know? I mean, we've had to say that so many times. It's so crazy to me how many times I've had to say, well, no one deserves to be killed. Like, no, they don't. And no one deserves this shit. And it just makes me ill because, yeah, it happens everywhere. We can sit back and go, well, yeah, well, this happens everywhere. It's not just there. Well, I get that. But right now we're talking about there. Like, we are focusing on there because there was a quadruple murder and the suspect is from there. So now the spotlight is on them, right? Like, when you see that fucking light for some event and you see it from afar, like thousands of miles away, we're that light, right? Like, YouTube is that light, and everybody talking about this is that light that is shining on them right now. And sorry about it that it's them, but what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And this kind of shit is wrong. It's so wrong. Yeah. Cell phone data and DNA. That's what they're basing Koberger's case on. It said in the thing that it's going to mainly be, we just read it today. Look at this. She doesn't remember performing oral sex on him because she was like diabetic, right? But the friends she returned to that night at Rogers Hall say they remember. She just said, I was raped by a cop. And then one friend testified. And then another friend said she was saying how she was raped by a cop. Another friend testified. Meanwhile, the defense claims he never transported her. The prosecution says GPS places her cell phone in the area, while the defense says it's not in a pinpoint location. The prosecution refers to male fluids on a sleeve, which the defense calls it a DNA transfer, but it could have happened in many ways. The first witness called to the stand is a friend and criminal justice major. My roommate and I bagged up the clothes she was wearing, just worried about preserving evidence, the friend explained. Surveillance video allegedly places Hargreaves in the area during the alleged events. Dashcam footage from the officers he oversaw as sergeant placed him near the scene of the alleged oral sex incident at Rainey Park. The jury heard from 5 witnesses on Tuesday. According to opening statement, we will hear testimony from 4 officers who were on shift with Hargreaves that evening. W.S.U. police, Washington State patrol detectives, and forensic DNA analysis. Also, at least 3 different types of video evidence. 3 different types of video? What kind of video could it be? And this, what? Why would they? No, this is fucked up. Nope. Here's December of 2022. Judges ruled that an 82-year-old Lewiston woman is unfit to stand trial for the murder of her husband, Kay Morrison. I mean, you don't even have to look. I mean, this is exactly what happens when I'm on here. Look, there's that skull that was found under the bridge. Yep. Crazy. All right, you guys. I think that is it on Mr. Hargreaves. Next time, I'm going to have a nice little video that University of Michigan put together themselves. Okay. And I'm going to share this. We're going to go over it. We're going to talk about it. It's kind of like a reality show. And yeah. We're going to take a look at that. I'm just making sure there's nothing. Who's this one? 3 years ago, death of fraternity member. Diego, what? Is this another kid?
Attending a Phi Gamma Delta fraternity event Wednesday.
This isn't Sam.
Officials investigating another student death at an off-campus fraternity.
Dylan Hernandez. Oh, this is in San Diego. Wait, what? Police investigating. Wait a minute. Let's back up. This is. Hold on. Fraternity member dies at Washington State, but he wasn't from there. Let's see what this is all about. Police investigating death of fraternity member at Washington State. A 19-year-old male student was found unresponsive Tuesday morning. This comes as new details emerge in the death of Dylan Hernandez, a San Diego State University student who died after leaving a fraternity event. So this is November 12th. What? This is November 12th, 2019. And the only person that comments is David Ellis. First comment, view, and like. No more need to be a frat boy. That stuff is tired. What? And there's only 1,000 views on this video.
Tonight, officials investigating another student death at an off-campus fraternity. A 19-year-old male student at Washington State University found unresponsive this morning.
They believed it may be alcohol poisoning, doing CPR.
This as new details emerge surrounding the death of 19-year-old Dylan Hernandez. The San Diego State University freshman rushed to the hospital from his dorm after allegedly attending a Phi Gamma Delta fraternity event Wednesday night.
In this case, it unfortunately cost him.
The medical examiner releasing an initial report. Hernandez found pulseless by his roommate the next morning, pronounced dead Friday. The preliminary cause of death, accidental blunt force trauma to the head.
It's just a shame.
14 fraternities now suspended after a campus police investigation uncovered possible misconduct, citing public safety. In a statement, Phi Gamma Delta is saying they are working with authorities to gather all relevant facts about what transpired. If it is determined that any of our policies were violated, we will take immediate and appropriate action. Now, in the wake of this latest tragedy, a family mourns as many questions still remain. Steve Patterson, NBC News, San Diego.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our
Why does this happen so much there? After 4 student deaths in 1 month?
Washington State University is suspending all fraternity and sorority social events after the death of a student possibly tied to alcohol. This is the 4th fraternity-related death in the U.S. in the past month that has led to suspensions or crackdowns on fraternities. Jamie Yukis is in Los Angeles for us. Jamie, so how bad is this getting?
Well, Tony, government researchers say nearly 2,000 college students die each year from alcohol-related injuries. That includes car crashes. Fraternities connected the deaths have now also occurred in San Diego, New York, and Pennsylvania, prompting a crackdown by school officials.
19-year-old male is not conscious, not breathing. They believed it may be alcohol poisoning.
Police are still investigating what happened at the Alpha Tau Omega House off the Washington State University campus, where they received an emergency call early Tuesday morning. Medics arrived to find 19-year-old fraternity member Sam Martinez unresponsive. Police say a preliminary investigation indicated that his death could be alcohol-related.
It sounds to me that there's a cultural problem.
There is a cultural problem.
Professor Hank Newer has studied fraternity drinking trends for decades.
When the deaths occur, it's often because they not only want to drink with the members, they want to outdrink them to show off.
Martinez's death.
Is this just alcohol, though? Or is this drugs? And they're saying it's alcohol? Because that drug task force keeps giving the city of Moscow Police Department grants. They give them grants to crack down on underage drinking. But don't you think that pills and stuff are a huge deal? And we've had a lot of, overdoses with fentanyl and things like that. So I don't know if it's, being, because, everybody hears alcohol poisoning, right? You hear alcohol poisoning, and as a parent who might be getting ready to send your kid to college, you'd be like, oh, you know what? My kid doesn't drink, that much, or, whatnot. Like, all college kids drink, da-da-da-da-da, But where are the overdoses in this area? Do they not have overdoses like the rest of the country? I find that hard to believe. I find that really hard to believe. So they are saying, it's drinking culture. And I know that is a problem, but I think that there's also other substances nowadays that they're turning to, and it could be more than that. And I just wonder, because, you really wouldn't want that to be out there, would you? You wouldn't want that out there. I mean, booze, parents can, all kids do that. And it's been going on since the beginning of time. Frat parties, drinking, think of Revenge of the Nerds, bongs, beer bongs, all that shit. It's all goes along with the Greek life. But they're saying that this is, no, I don't know if they're not claiming they have none, but all these kids that die, it's alcohol poisoning. It's never anything else. It's never any other substance, right? But it was bad enough where they suspended all fraternity and sorority social events. Why would they do that? So I don't know. You guys can look further into what's this all about.
Good afternoon.
I am Greene County Prosecutor David Hayes, and first I want to thank all of you for being here today. On December 16th of last year, Zachary turned...
This has 255 views 2 years ago. 2 additional victims come forward in rape investigation on WSU campus. January 19th, 2021? What? The fuck? Are we being punked? He's looking at me like you're being punked, bitch.
Who was living on the campus of Wright State University was indicted for multiple felony offenses, including rape, kidnapping, and abduction. The state has alleged the defendant victimized
This
two
is
separate
not
women.
WSU, our WSU. This is a different WSU. Okay, that is my note to close out. This is time to end the stream. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and hearing this out. The more that we learn about this area, the dynamics, how things have gone in the past, the more educated we can be. I do not want anybody to lose faith in law enforcement. I think that being patient right now, letting all of this stuff work out is extremely important. So with that being said, I know you guys are going to be off and about, and you're going to be, hearing other people talking about the latest with DM and all that. And let's just try to keep in mind, that that's someone's personal, private business, no matter what happened, no matter what you think of the murder investigation and that whole situation. Let's just remember that that is something that is very personal to someone's mental psyche. And I think it's important to remember that. So just be kind to everyone. You don't have to agree with everything, but just be kind. And if you can't be kind, just kind of don't say anything. It's just the best way to be. So you guys, I love you. Thank you for being here. And dance this mofo out. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. And I will see you guys really soon. Take care, Roberters. And thank you so much for everyone who joined and subscribed tonight. Take care. Bye. Stay safe.
I don't give a damn. I don't really care about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. You talk way too much. I have heard enough about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn.
La 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 means be quiet and let me finish.
You wanna be with me. You wanna feel something real, but I'm feeling differently. You're making plans to get to France, but don't wanna face the fact that I ain't got time for that. Staying up late, sleeping all day, dreaming about Cadillacs. Buying new shoes, hanging by the pool, sipping on Coke and Jack. Calling my phone when you feel alone.
The devil is dancing tonight.
You'll see Jay again, my friend.
Walk your